Hello, my name is David Rubel with DLT Solutions. This is a first in a series of conversations to help government agencies advance the use of intelligent data discovery, integration, and visualization to support your mission success. In today's session, we're going to be focusing on helping government realize improved data insight and mission outcomes. At DLT, I'm the Chief Technologist of Data and Analytics and our Principal Data Scientist. With us today is Mike Snodgrass from Informatica, who's the Enterprise Data Sales Consultant, and Larry Hill with Tableau, the Channel Sales Consultant. Our agenda will be first looking at the value of discovering and understanding data. We'll spend a moment taking a look at the DLT Analytics Stack strategy, with which both Informatica and Tableau are products within that strategy. We're then going to be looking very specifically at Informatica and Tableau, and then wrapping it up with a quick summary. So for agencies in all forms of data, and very specifically around the continual influx of data of different sizes and types, what becomes a real challenge is really determining what is the right data that I need for my mission, for my agency success, for my line of business. So there's the data discovery aspect, and then really what do you do with that data? How do you make it actionable? How do you make it so that it becomes something that is not only in support of your mission and your agency's objective, but really becomes insight-driven in support of what you're trying to achieve. So the data visualization aspect becomes the way that we actually bring it all together. So data discovery, integration, visualization, working together to be able to achieve that objective. At the same time, while we're moving to modernize across the board and looking at being able to manage data in a real-time perspective, we're also transitioning away from the legacy approach of traditional report factory to business intelligence environment. No longer do we wait for static reports to be generated. We really want to be able to work with data, to be able to iterate, to ask more questions, and then be able to leverage the data so that we can get to faster decisions, more effective use of the data. DLT's approach in looking at this entire challenge in the case of big data, and really the entire big data problem set, is to take a 4-layer stack, which is referred to as the analytics stack: big data processing, data lake management, master data management, and purpose-built analytics and data science. This stack that you see on the right side basically gives you the description of each of the components within that stack. Today, and with Tableau and Informatica, we're going to be focusing on, with Tableau, on the self-service analytics BI and BI platform aspect of the analytics layer, and with Informatica on the master data management layer, integration, discovery, and preparation, governance, and compliance aspect of the master data management layer. Together, Tableau and Informatica are market leaders, and this is acknowledged here by Gartner's most recent 2017 Magic Quadrant for each of these solution areas. As you can see, Tableau and Informatica are upper right-hand leadership Magic Quadrant players, and the rest of our conversation here today is going to be focusing on the way that bringing both Informatica and Tableau together, focusing on intelligent data discovery and data visualization together, help you advance your mission objectives. With that, I'll hand it over to Mike. Mike?
Thank you. My name is Mike Snodgrass. I'm a Senior Solutions Architect at Informatica. And for our demonstration today, we're going to talk about a two-part scenario where, from Informatica's perspective, we're going to perform intelligent data discovery to help guide a person through finding the right set of data. And then I'm going to turn it over to Larry at Tableau, who's going to take that same data set and talk about visualization. So it's going to be really data discovery at this first part before we go into data visualization. Now, when we talk about problems here in today's world with data, we see a lot of agencies that have, thousands of data sets in fragmented silos, and there's no real way to scale across all those different data sets to help to even find the right set of data. So that's been a key challenge. Another challenge is if you can connect all that data, you don't really see the context of it. You don't see the reason why it's being used. So this lack of a semantic layer where you can't see the data lineage or the impact analysis of the data is also a challenge. And then finally, there's a challenge of how long it takes just to find the right data set. If it takes 4 to 6 weeks to really find the right set of data, you're already behind the curve in trying to solve the problem that the data has identified. So the solution to this data problem here around data discovery is what we call the Informatica Enterprise Information Catalog. This is one piece of our data management suite. There's lots of other functionality here within Informatica's data management portfolio, but we're going to focus on the Enterprise Information Catalog to solve the challenges that we saw in the other slide around data discovery. And the solution here really is a way to leverage all of the agency data that you've got. And we connect into all the different data sources. It could be that you've got your application data, the data locked up in your documents, data within your databases, but it's also, big data. If you've got Hadoop data that's out there or data that's in the cloud, you really need a way to leverage all of that data no matter where it resides. And the Enterprise Information Catalog helps solve that. Now, this is part of a data governance platform here. It gives an agency better data governance, the ability to find all these different data sets across all of the silos within the agency. And during the demonstration, we're going to see a little bit of data discovery, a little bit of governance, smart suggestions, better searches for the data. We're going to be able to look at some crowdsourced data sets here where other people within the agency have provided some information. We're going to give you better context here, be able to see that lineage of the data, and the whole goal is going to be to help find that right set of data. And this is all kind of hinging upon the concept that data really requires context. How do I know if I've got the right data set here? I need to see the context of how it's being used. And now the Enterprise Information Catalog is going to provide this functionality. And this is what you're going to see in the demo. You're going to see the ability to catalog and discover all types of data across all the different data assets. And you're going to be able to do a semantic search across that data to better understand how it's being used. We're going to show you the lineage. We're going to show you the relationships between the different data sets, who's using those data sets, et cetera. And we're going to see the ability to enrich those data assets with some additional content. So at this point, let's jump straight into the demonstration. So in this scenario, I'm going to be an analyst, and I'm going to look into the Enterprise Information Catalog to find some call center data. So at our agency, we've got a nationwide call center. They call in all over the country, and we record all that information. I want to analyze those call center data. Who's calling? What are the most popular states? When are they calling? Are there any issues with that data? So we're going to use the Enterprise Information Catalog to do intelligent data discovery, help me find that right data set. So I'm going to log into the Enterprise Information Catalog, and the first thing that I see is that I'm presented with a Google-like front end to search those data sets. And here you can see that we've connected to over 3,000 data assets from 20 different resources. Again, that single enterprise view, we've connected all those data silos together. I want to look for some call center data, so I'm going to type in the word call, and I'm going to see it does a drop down here and auto fill in here for all the different data sets that might result in call center data. So let me search across my entire agency, all 3,000 data assets, and find that call center data that I need to find. So when I do that search, I can see that I've got back a lot of results. In fact, I've got 191 data assets here that contain some kind of call center data. And I can look and see that these came from SAP, from Oracle, from Hadoop, lots of different areas. Now, we allow you to tag that data. So here, this call charge Oracle data has salary and age, some other business terms associated with that data, so that's useful to know. And here I can see some filtering capabilities. So I know I need to filter down these 191 different data assets to find the call center data. And I think about this just like I'm shopping in Amazon. If I were to buy shoes, I might type in the word shoes and get thousands of results, but I know I need to have golf shoes, size 9.5, color white, whatever it is. So I'm going to apply those filters here to my agency data, trying to find that call center data that I know I need to visualize in Tableau. So the first thing that I'm going to do is say, well, you know, I've got SAP, I've got Oracle. I'm going to look inside my data lake. So I'm going to apply a filter here within the data lake, and I'm going to scroll down, and I know that the call center application is in a mainframe. Let me see if this was originally sourced out of the mainframe. I'm going to click on that source, that facet as well. And here I've got two data sets that have come back. So we've gotten it much smaller. We're applying some intelligent searching here. I've got a couple data assets that might be the right one. So I'm going to click on this detailed records table and see what the Enterprise Information Catalog can tell me about it. Now, the Enterprise Information Catalog is kind of like a card catalog, right? We've collected metadata from all the different data assets within the agency, and we're presenting it to that front-end analyst to help them decide what to do. So I can see some technical information about where this came from. I can see here that it's a table. I can see the fields within the table. I've got customer ID. I can see some information about the length of the field, you know, additional metadata to help me decide if I've got the right set of data. So here I can see the results of some of the other data governance officers within the agency who have used this data set, and here they provided a description. This is a call detail record for all the customers. So good, this looks to be the right set of data, but they've made some additional notes. Large data set, used with caution, performance issues expected. Okay, this is a very large data set. I don't know if I found the right set of data, you know, that I need to go analyze. So that's good to note that another person has put in a business description. There's also a trust rating down here at the bottom. We tag a lot of our agency assets with different information here, different attributes. This one may not be the most trusted data asset, but it's a start. Maybe I can use this data asset and look at its context to go see if I can find the right data. So now when I click on lineage and impact, I can start to see that context. Let's take a look at that data set and how it relates to some of the other data sets. The Enterprise Information Catalog gives you a lineage, and I can see in the middle the data set that we started with. And now I can see where it came from. In this case, the data set came from a table in Oracle. Okay, well that's important. I got it from Oracle. It went into our data lake. Now where did it end up? If I scroll here, I can see that it ended up inside a report. So I've got an SAP Business Objects report here. So part of the value in this intelligent searching is tying together all these different data assets. We've connected everything. We need to see how they're related. So now we can see that lineage. This is probably the right set of data because it's in an official report on the front end here. So I've got it, but we know it's got some performance impact. So let me take my slider here and let's drill in a little bit more into that lineage and see some other details about how it gets into the final report. So here I can see that my data set goes through a couple stops before it gets to that report. So I've expanded the lineage. I'm looking a little bit deeper into that lineage. And here I can see that we've got an aggregation table in the data lake that might be something to look at. So our other data set had a lot of information in it, maybe some performance impact. You know, maybe this aggregated data set is going to give me a little bit more information. So now I can see that, in fact, this aggregated information came from the detail records table that we saw earlier, but it also came from another table too. It also feeds the report that we saw here. So this looks to be a pretty decent data set. Let's take a look at some more information within the asset details. Here I can see the fields inside the table. I've got a certified data element here around customer ID that's been, you know, automatically inferred for this data. We use machine learning to try to dig in and provide more information to help you find the right data set. So while I've got customer ID and I've got some call information, how long did they call, where did they call from, I don't really know who the customers are. So I may not have the full picture for all the data sets. But I do come in here and I see that the trust rating is certified, and it came from the data engineering department. So I say, okay, good. This is a good set of data. I'm going to put this in Tableau. Hopefully I can make some sense out of it when I visualize it. That's a good set of data. I'm a little bit concerned about not having more customer information. So I'm going to click on the Relationships tab here and look at some more context of this information. So here, again, we've inferred relationships between this data set. Here is a list of the other users in the agency who are using this data. I can see that Tim Smith and Anna Joyce are people, data stewards within the agency who are using this. I could call them if I need to. It's good to see that there's other people using this data set. It's giving me some confidence that it's the right set of data. And here's some other tables that are related to that. And here I can see Customer Master. And maybe that's a table that's going to give me some more information about the customers beyond just the customer ID. So I'm going to click on that, and here I can see I've got a lot of users. I've got business terms from our official agency data dictionary. This is the official source of customer information. So this is something that I'm going to go use. So I'm going to take this customer master information, and I'm going to send it to Tableau along with the customer the call records too, and these are going to be my two data sets. So at this point, I'm going to turn this over to Larry from Tableau, who's going to take that same data, those same data assets, and visualize some information.
All right, great. Thanks, Mike. I will take it away. So thanks for that introduction. And again, my name is Larry Hill. I'm a sales consultant here at the Tableau channel. And what I want to share with you guys today is just the power of data analytics using Tableau on top of that same data set that Mike has been working with, the call center data via Informatica. Before we do that, I have a couple interesting use cases from state, local, and federal customers that I want to share to give you some background and context to data analytics. So one of the things that Tableau does very well is we help people see and understand their data. That is our mission statement. And often in the analytics world, one person's analytics is another person's spread mart. And so we try to help people see and understand that data. So it's interesting that, analytics in the real world often look like this, right? Spreadsheets, spread marts, they're widespread in every single organization. The key problem here is that I cannot see and understand any of this data. I would actually prefer to see the data as a picture. So if I try to drill into this information, I have no insights, nothing sticks out. I need to be a fast consumer of lots of numbers. Now this is actual data we got from Georgia State Road and Toll Authority. They manage all the toll lanes on I-85 in Georgia, and they need to be able to see patterns and gain insights into the data. This format does not convey anything useful. So let's take a look at the same data set up or built inside of an effective visualization using Tableau. And so we took the same data set, and as you can see you can see exactly where the numbers lie. You can tell where the anomalies are. You can gain valuable insights. And all this is possible within seconds to minutes as opposed to hours and days as you'd seen in the report factory. So the second use case that actually emerged from this, aside from I can see my traffic patterns, I know that if I'm going northbound on I-85, I'm going to be stuck in traffic from right around 3:30, 4 o'clock till at least 6. But the second use case was they noticed that there were some anomalies in the data. There were some blank spots in this tree map, and they were able to determine that the collection points were not sending data consistently. So in effect, they used Tableau not only to monitor, the traffic patterns, but to monitor the actual hardware collecting the data. So it's kind of an interesting way to use Tableau. Let's look at another interesting DoD case use case involving the Air Mobile Command. So Transcom uses Tableau to analyze fuel efficiencies. And what the story here is that they had C-17s that were going in and out of Afghanistan. They were carrying about 40 to 50,000 pounds of extra fuel on flights in and out of the country. And the analysis coming out of the report factory may have led to an erroneous gut decision, i.e., let's fill up in Afghanistan. Self-service reporting via Tableau allowed the AMC to actually ascertain that fuel was significantly cheaper in Oman and Kuwait than it was in Afghanistan. You see, in Afghanistan, fuel comes from the Gulf. It comes across Pakistan, through mountain passes, and into Afghanistan via truck. It makes gas very, very expensive. So deciding not to refuel on the ground actually saved them about $46,000 per flight. And each C-17 would take about 2 trucks to fill up. So if you think about the number of convoys, it numbered somewhere in the range of about 600 convoys would pass through those mountain passes in Pakistan. And the Army casualty factor rate per convoy is 0.042. So if you multiply that by 600, they estimated they've saved not only $46,000 per flight, but about 25 lives may have been saved by deciding not to refuel on the ground in Afghanistan. So how does this change policy? Well, the Air Mobile Command created a matrix chart for commanders to determine whether or not they should carry extra fuel or not. So it's a very, very interesting use case. So let's see a demo of that call center data using Tableau. So what I have here is a dashboard that we created, and it uses the data that Mike was actually wrangling there just a minute ago inside Informatica. And what we're able to determine is we can look at all of our peaks and valleys across all of our different call volumes, right? So it looks like the highest peak was 1,939 calls received on a Sunday at 5 a.m. So that's interesting. So that's going to basically make me ask another question. I'm going to drill into the details. I'm going to figure out what's going on. But we can determine that we get calls consistently, whether it's a weekend or a weekday. So there is no lag or slowdown of the calls. But I can also see where the majority of the calls are coming in from. So I see that we got a couple of dots here that are red or orange, indicating that the call lengths are higher. And that's DC, looks like Houston, Dallas, and El Paso. And with Tableau, you can build in automatic drill downs. You can do things like, well, I'm going to use this as a filter. And I can filter my entire view and look at, oh, well, for the, in the city of El Paso, the average call length, the average call per minute charge. But I can also drill into more detail. I can go grab the call detail by customer. And I can see, each individual call, the total call charge, the length of the calls, the average call length, all these details that I need to know. Now, if I wanted to drill into maybe the context of the call, so if it's a tech support center, we want to know were we doing a on-site or an over the phone kind of a tech support case, troubleshooting what it was. If the data supports it, we can actually get at it. But the next question that people always ask me, they say, Larry, this looks great, but really, how hard is it to build something like this? This looks complicated. Well, I'm going to show you in less than 10 minutes I can build a major portion of this dashboard. So let me just move this out of the way. And let's go look at a blank sheet. So this is the same data set. First thing we're going to do is we're going to create the call volume line chart. So I'm going to look at information by day. And we need to look at it by hour. And then we want to look at the total number of records. Each individual record is an individual call. I can simply just pull in the number of total records, and there are all my call volumes. Now I want to be able to disseminate whether that's a weekend or a weekday, so we can just simply add a flag, and it tells us, okay, I've got a couple weekends in there. At least this is the month of October, so I've got at least 4 weekends, maybe 5. The next thing I might want to do is give the user some usable information, so actionable information. I can scroll over an individual point, and maybe I might want to see the exact date on there, maybe the weekday, the name of the weekday. So we can just simply say, I'm going to put the weekday name in there as a tooltip, and maybe I'll throw in the date. So now this information is more complete. Let's go ahead and get rid of that header, and I'm going to move on to the map. So now that we've seen where the peaks and valleys are, I want to know where the calls are coming from. So the ask here is, can you tell me where all the calls are coming in from? And let's just concentrate on the lower 48 for now. And I want to look at the number of calls, and that's going to determine the actual size of the bubble, and that's an adjustable size. Let me jack it up just a little bit. And I want to see the average call length in minutes is displayed as a color. And the way this works, the hotter the color, okay, the longer the call, the higher the limit is. Now, I have an issue here where I'm looking at the sum of all the call lengths, and I don't want to do that. I want to do the average, so I can actually just tell Tableau, I'm going to re-aggregate this to the average. So that looks like a little more realistic picture. I also want to look at the calls by weekday. So I want to throw this into more of a heat map kind of a scenario, kind of like you saw with the Georgia State Road and Toll Authority data. I want to be able to see if there's patterns in my data. So let's take a look at weekdays. And we'll take a look at the days again. And we'll look at the hours. In this particular case, I'm just going to throw the number of calls onto the map. And it appears to me that there really are no patterns in this particular data set. It looks like we get pretty much a random smattering of calls from Sunday through Saturday. You'll see a few peak areas, but other than that, I don't see any discernible patterns. So I really can't make any decisions on personnel or whether or not I should bring in temps or overtime employees. So in this particular case, the data doesn't really bear out what the question that I'm actually asking. And that actually happens sometimes. But the next thing I want to do is I want to put all this together. So I want to show you how we stitch it all together in a dashboard. And I like to use maps to drive a lot of my analysis. So we're going to use the map as the main driver. And let's just go ahead and get rid of some of this extra stuff we don't need. And let's see, here we go, there we go. And I'm just going to do a quick format here to make sure everything fits nice and snug. And what I'd like to do is I want to look at my map and say, okay, now I've got a lot of calls coming in from DC, a lot of calls coming in from Houston. I see that some of the call lengths are a little longer than average. So for example, here in Bakersfield, wouldn't it be nice if I could just simply click on Bakersfield and then have it filter the view or actually go to some detail information? So I'm going to tell Tableau, use my map as a filter, and we'll take a look at the call volumes across the top. I notice that call volume will actually change as I drill into different cities. Okay. Now, I'd also like to drill down into some details. Now, I have a dashboard that I've already pre-built that shows me all of the detail information, and I want to be able to sort on the individual cities. So I can simply tell Tableau, hey, I want to create an action between these two dashboards, and just basically tell me, what the details are. And we'll just call this drill to detail. Keep it simple. And so now when I drill on Bakersfield, I can actually drill to the details. I can go back and I can drill on, say, El Paso. I can see El Paso. But the idea here is that, within a few minutes, in less than 10 minutes, I created a view that I can consume the data in a meaningful fashion. I can look at the call volumes. I can see the peaks and valleys. I can see where my calls are coming in. I can see if there are any patterns in the weekday. If I need to, I can drill down into the individual details of every single city and who the customers are. I mean, at the end of the day, I would actually publish this to a server where everybody could get access to it. But that's the essence of Tableau. And when you think about using DLT's analytics stack, and you get Informatica and you get Tableau, you give the best of the breed complete data analytics platform. Okay, so I want to go ahead and transition back to Dave, and thank you for looking at the demo.
Mike, Larry, great job in presentation and demonstration. I really appreciate it. And with this, our objective today was to really show you the incredible power of intelligent data discovery, analytics, and data visualization to make your agency's work with data more effective, to help you achieve your mission outcomes faster, and help you drive those insights to new ways of being able to achieve your agency objectives. This is the first in a series of these conversations. Please join us for the next round where we'll get deeper into some of these other areas and explore other topics associated with these areas. So thank you very much, and goodbye.